Welcome back to Big Texas Hijinks with Josh and Dr. Mike. Standing next to me on my right is Dr. Mike, and of course I am Josh. So this is a follow-up to last time when I challenged Dr. Mike to take this Power Wheels right here, jump it 30 feet in the air over the creek in front of his house. And I am super excited about today's video.
Josh, I'm excited about today's video.
Okay, really?
Yeah.
Like, you realize we're likely going to destroy the Power Wheels that you put all this effort, blood, sweat, and a ton of tears into.
So that is true. I'm not thrilled about the idea of it smashing into the ground, but I do have something to be excited about.
What's that?
So I know how you hate math, and today I get to make you sit through all the calculations I had to do for this challenge.
Fantastic. All right. Well, you know what? Big Texas Hijinks production can edit that out in post.
All right, well, let's get to it. All right, now this is better. So Josh, to figure out how many rockets we need to strap to the Power Wheels to jump at 30 feet over the creek, what are the variables that we know, and what are the variables we're trying to solve for?
So the goal is 30 feet over the creek. So
yes.
That would be the known.
Yes.
And the unknown would be the speed, but we have to get the Power Wheels to make that 30 feet, right?
That's exactly right, Josh. Now, another important variable is the angle of the ramp, right? Now, what angle do you happen to know is going to give us the furthest distance with a fixed velocity?
About 45 degrees?
That's exactly right. Now, I played with the Power Wheels already. We can't quite do 40 to 45 degrees. It'll actually veer off if the angle's that steep. 30 degrees is the most we can do, so we're going to fix the angle of the ramp at 30 degrees. But before we do that, let me go ahead and draw a schematic of what we're trying to do.
Okay.
So we've got one creek big here. We've got the water here. We've got our jump here, which has an angle of theta, which we know theta is 30 degrees, as we discussed. Our Power Wheels is here, and it's going, we'll call V naught, its initial velocity. It's got a term in the x, V naught x, and it's got a component in the y called V naught y. It's going to jump, land somewhere over here. We're going to call where it lands x final, the final distance, and we're going to say where it takes off is x naught. We're going to say x naught equals 0, so that's where it takes off. We're calling that 0. And when it takes off, we're going to call the time t0, and when it lands, we're going to call the time t final. Okay, so we're going to start things looking at the x direction, which is the horizontal, and the y direction, which is the vertical, okay?
Okay, you're starting to make my head hurt.
Our equation for height and the y. So we have an equation for y of t, and we have an equation for v of t in the y direction. So what do we know about the height of the Power Wheels when it lands?
It's 0?
Exactly, Josh. So let's go ahead and plug that in, right? So we know that we have two equations with t final and v naught, and two unknowns. So we can actually go ahead and use these two equations and solve for t final.
I don't know, man. You've lost me here.
Okay, so we can then go ahead solving for these two equations. We know theta is 30 degrees. We have, again, x final is 30 feet. We know gravity is 32 feet per second squared. We plug all these in, and we end up getting a time in the air of 1.09 seconds. Okay?
Dr. Mike, who cares? How fast does it need to go?
So we can plug that back into our equations for v naught, and it turns out v naught then equals 22.8 miles per hour.
Wait, 22.8 miles per hour? That doesn't seem like very fast. Are you sure about that?
I am very sure about that, but keep in mind that's going to be the speed right when it exits the ramp. So there's a couple things to keep in mind here. So first of all, as it goes up the ramp, it's going to slow down by maybe 5 or 10 miles an hour, okay? So we're going to lose some speed there. Also, I really didn't have the time to do the CFD modeling to actually figure out the drag and how much it's going to slow down from wind resistance. So I really don't know, but I would say conservatively we might lose 10 miles an hour from that as well. So maybe total 20 miles an hour.
Okay, so hold on. 23 miles per hour plus the 20 miles per hour you're going to live.
Yes.
Is 43 miles per hour.
Yes, yes.
So 43 miles per hour is how fast it needs to go to get 30 feet in the air.
That is my best guess, yes. And as long as it stays straight and the ramp holds up.
Okay, now that we're done with that awful and totally unnecessary explanation, can we just take a look at the Power Wheels and see what you modified?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Dr. Mike, so what have you changed?
All right, so you remember last time, on one side we had that steel coupler that was slipping, so we couldn't put all the power down?
Yeah?
Okay, so what I did was actually drilled and tapped a hole in that coupler and put in a set screw, so we rigidly have the output shaft connected to the steel coupler, so that shouldn't be an issue this time.
Okay, and what else?
Okay, so you also remember last time we had the two 29mm rockets on the back that gave us about 10-mile-per-hour bump when we activated them.
Yeah, I remember.
So I think down there I can get up to about 15 miles an hour by the time we hit the jump on electric motors only. And so what I did this time, put 6 29mm rockets on the back. Should give us a bump of 30 miles an hour, should get us up to 45 miles an hour by the time we hit the jump, which based on the calculations we just discussed, should be good for 30 feet in the air.
All right, finally, my headache is starting to go away from all that math we were doing earlier. So, besides the rockets
Yes.
and the coupler,
Yes.
did you change anything else?
Yeah, so I got a waterproof active camera on the front, and I also got a waterproof active camera on the back here.
All right, so what do you say we just get to it?
Let's do it.
But is that the ramp over there? And why are there 3 of them?
Oh, okay, so yeah, that is a ramp. So it's modular, so once we get down there, we're gonna assemble it into one wide ramp. It's in 3 pieces, so it's easy to carry down, so for ease of transport. But yeah, I'll give you a bit more detail once we get down there on the ramps.
Okay, you know what? Let's stop jaw-jacking and let's jump this Power Wheels.
Let's do it.
All right, we're back out here. Now, obviously, the weather is going to be an issue, Mike. It's raining.
Yeah.
What are you thinking?
Oh, we're gonna cancel and we'll do it next week.
No, Mike. No, Mike. That is not an option. All right, anyway, we're going to keep going. We got the ramp set up. We got the fire extinguishers. We got the cameras ready to go. Mike, what is the plan?
Well, we have basically no traction in the dry, so in the wet we're gonna have even less, so I don't really know what you want me to do. But with that said, yeah, I mean, the car's ready to go, the rockets are set up. We got the jump here, it's a 30-degree jump, 4 foot long, 12 feet wide. It's so wide because I don't know what's gonna happen when I hit the rocket. It's probably gonna turn one way or the other. But yeah, we're ready to go, let's do it.
So, Mike, that's part of the problem here.
Yeah.
The ramp,
Yeah.
it's right next to the creek.
Where do you want it to go?
So your task was to jump the Power Wheels 30 feet.
Yeah.
I want to move the ramps back,
Yeah.
so 30 feet is the edge of the creek on the other side.
You realize if it comes up even a little short, then it's gonna go in the water and ruin all the electronics.
That is kind of the point of the channel, Mike.
Okay, well, let me measure 30 feet and I'll get the ramp moved back and we'll reassess.
All right, let's do it. All right, Dr. Mike, now that the ramps are in the proper position,
Yep.
what do you think is going to happen here?
All right, well, I can say with a high degree of confidence, Josh, I have no idea. The rockets are gonna put out about double the thrust of the weight of the car. So it could do anything from just veer to the right and or left and go into the creek. It could go off the jump and fly 50 feet in the air. It could go off the jump and start spinning. I got no idea.
All right, well, what do we think is going to happen when it tries to land on the other side of the creek here?
Well, if it does go off the jump and land on the other side of the creek, it's gonna be hitting the ground at 40 to 50 miles an hour. And believe me, it's just gonna disintegrate. It's gonna be destroyed.
Well, what do you say we stop talking about it and just get it done?
Yeah, let's do it.
We're ready.
I'm just gonna go off it straight.
Cool. Oh. It's all right.
Everybody ready?
Yep.
What went in the water?
I think my phone.
Oh,
So what happened?
I hit so we've got 7 rockets on here, so 7 fuses. It's got to ignite. It might just be too much power. I'm gonna.
You know, Mike, I'm not an expert, but a good engineer would have accounted for this stuff. This is shoddy engineering work.
Hey, at least I saved it from going to the water.
Yeah. So you're telling me you're a disaster and you averted a catastrophe, is what you're telling me.
It went off the jump too. And the jump worked. The jump held up. All right, let's go.
This is the face of failure, folks.
Yeah.
That's what failure looks like. Look in the camera. Let them see failure.
I know, I was gonna say, at least it didn't go in the water. Saved the whole day.
What was grinding at the end?
One of the motor seals.
We got some repairs to do.
Maybe not. Oh, where's that? How did your camera fall off? Oh, the fucking GoPro.
Oh,
Ah, good job.
let's do it.
The rockets are on.
He just pulled back both drones.
Yeah.
Oh! You alright?
You got that on camera?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, that's exactly the problem. There wasn't enough power.
Did it not all 6 of them?
No, 3. All right, let's get this.
Call it a day. Hold on. We need to get a close-up of your face of how pissed you are right now.
All right, get a close up of your face.
Yeah, the joy on my face.
Yeah.
I just want to say, ladies and gentlemen, just so you know, no matter how much money you spend on your education, it doesn't always make sense. Well, Dr. Mike, today did not go as planned. We had a lot of challenges, a lot of problems. Why don't you give the folks a recap?
All right, so the big #1 thing happened, right? It rained, right? And so as a result, couldn't get traction with the tires. Only got up to about 10 miles an hour with electric power only, was aiming for more like 15. And then of course, as you noticed, the rockets didn't fire. Now, luckily I swerved to the right. We still went off the jump, did some damage to the car, but we didn't go in the creek at least. Now, I also have a theory as to why the rockets didn't fire. So we have a 24 volt to 12 volt converter, which is what fires off the rockets. Now, it's about 200 watts, and it did just fine with the last video with 2 rockets, but I think it just doesn't have enough power to fire all 6 rockets off at once.
So that makes sense.
Yeah.
So, Dr. Mike, between the rain,
Yep.
between the malfunctions,
Yep.
obviously the mud that we all have on us,
Yeah.
and we messed up the tire pretty good going over the rain.
Landed on that tire when it went off the jump, completely cracked the rim, so I'm going to have to fix that as well.
Yeah, so what I'm thinking, Dr. Mike, is we need to take a mulligan.
I agree, yep.
So what do you say we take about a month,
Yeah.
get things fixed, order more rockets,
Yep.
get all ready to go, and we try it again?
All right, let's do it, man.
All right?
Yep.
Great. Folks, Dr. Mike's going to get back in the lab, get this thing back up and running. We're going to try this thing again. In the meantime, if you want to keep seeing us do these crazy projects, please like and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to check out our Facebook and Instagram pages for more behind the scenes content. And today we'd like to announce our second channel, Big Texas Hijinks Extras. It will have more behind the scenes, extended stuff, uncut, all the great... Yeah, I know. Also, Dr. Mike will have uploaded our full calculation for this video. So if you want to see all the math behind the jump, Dr. Mike will have that up there soon. Make sure you check that out as well. And in the meantime, thank you for watching, and we'll see you all next time on Big Texas Hijinks.